The 2023 NBA draft is just a day away, so today on the Board YouTube channel, we're going to be previewing the action and going through the top 14 picks. Where are these lottery prospects going to end up? Let's get right into it. If you enjoyed this video and get any value out of it, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the board for more content like this, or follow on your favorite podcast platform as well. We have Pips in here once again, and what we're going to do for the video, I'm going to present him my lottery mock draft, and he is going to react to it, say if he agrees or disagrees with the pick. So let's get right into it. First of all, let's not dwell on this one. The first pick is going to be Victor Wembanyama. No need to even have a discussion about it. It is locked in. He actually hit the first pitch of the Yankees game yesterday, and they introduced him as the person who's going to be drafted first at the NBA draft. So, yeah, he's going number one. Let's go to number two. I actually have Brandon Miller. Sorry, I have Brandon Miller going in the 2 spot here. Sorry, I had it out of order. But Brandon Miller, last night, Scoot Henderson was the overwhelming favorite. Now Brandon Miller is at like minus 500 to go number 2. I don't agree with this pick, but it certainly seems as though Brandon Miller is the favorite here and that the Hornets are going to go this way. Pips, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. Probably going with Brandon Miller. With Hornets are probably going with Brandon Miller, but I don't agree with that at all. I think most of the drafts without Victor Wembanyama would have Scoot Henderson going as the number one and like a lock for number one.
Yeah.
And Hornets as a disaster of our organization as they are for so many years. I think I'm not doubting that they could pick Brandon Miller over him. And I would also argue people are saying they are choosing the fit with LaMelo Ball, and I would say I don't see a problem with Scoot Henderson playing next to the LaMelo Ball. I think their fit is almost the same as Brandon Miller because LaMelo is just a high clip 3-point shooter, and in today's NBA, 2 great ball handlers can work together very well.
I agree. I think their styles are different enough. I think you get the ball out of LaMelo's hands a bit. And I think this is certainly a case to be made that Scoot could be the better long-term player over LaMelo Ball. So this one I don't necessarily agree with, but I think
higher ceiling than Brandon Miller for sure. I think maybe you are not taking as much risk with Brandon Miller. He will probably be the starter throughout the entire NBA career, one-way upside as a star, but I don't think it's even close to Scoot Henderson upside. So, yeah.
And that's not to disrespect Brandon Miller. He's a great player. We just would prefer Scoot Henderson. But Portland will be very happy to either take Scoot Henderson at the 3 or maybe trade this pick. But we spoke about Scoot, Brandon Miller. Scoot's got to go number 3 if he doesn't go number 2. Where it can kind of get interesting in the draft is if we're in the 4 spot here, where I'm going to have Amen Thompson. I think if we spoke about this off camera, but if Scoot goes number 2, I think there is a viable chance Amen Thompson goes 3. But because Brandon Miller likely is going to go 2, I have Amen Thompson at the 4. Pips, you're a Rockets fan. How would you feel to have Amen Thompson come into Houston?
I think with Amen Thompson, we get a bit light version of Scoot. Great athlete. Very
amazing athlete.
Yeah, amazing athlete. And the thing I love about him is his vision, his shot creation, his feel for the game, especially on the offensive side, where he just hit every right pass. I'll say great inside finishing, but also great ball handling for his size. He's huge. That's a great thing for this. But I have a huge concern. It's not even close to. Everyone is concerned with Scoot Henderson's shooting, but Amen is like 5 times worse than Scoot Henderson. His form is completely broken, looking terrible, and that's my biggest concern. But everything else outside the shooting is looking great, and he has the size to maybe maneuver up around it and score inside on smaller guys. But yeah, he needs to improve his shot, but I love him as a Houston Rockets.
Yeah, the size, the ball handling, and the athleticism. Like, you can't teach this athleticism, but maybe you can teach the shooting. Maybe you can teach some other stuff along the way. This is the type of player you bet on in the NBA draft. So we'll continue on. Number 5, the odds on this one have shifted overnight. Jarris Walker is now favored to go here, but I'm going to stick to Cam Whitmore going to the Detroit Pistons. I like the fit a little bit better. A very wide, small forward, really good scorer, solid defender. There's a lot to like about Cam Whitmore in this position that I think Detroit are going to go with. How do you feel about that?
I'm not completely sold that he will go as the fifth because I have between him and Elzer Thompson, the other twin. But I'm completely in love with Cam. I think he's probably one of the best talents in this. He's the youngest player. He's not even 19 yet. He'll be 19 probably around summer league. He is very explosive, very athletic, two-way player, huge scoring upside, unbelievably strong for this
Yeah.
and with this young player. He is finishing through contact easily, and he is shooting 40% in catch and shoot. So very strong, very good driver, two-way player, shooting 40% on catch and shoot. Just unbelievable upside. And yeah, the only thing concerns about him is very tunnel vision and ball handling, like similar to Jalen Brown type, but if you compare him with Jalen Brown, he's looking like a very better prospect, and that's a bit of telling.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense because there already are two great ball handlers here in Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. So that's why I think they go Cam
Yeah.
Whitmore instead. But because he's going to be available at 6, I have Osar Thompson going to the Orlando Magic. Not as great of an athlete as Amon Thompson, as his twin brother. He's a little bit wider, but still a phenomenal athlete. And this is just why he's going to end up a little bit lower in the draft. But I think Orlando are a team that can firmly bet on a player with this level of athleticism and just see how far that can take him. And you just mentioned Osar potentially going 5th, so I'm sure you like this one at 6 as well.
Yeah, I think the difference between him and the brother is the A-man is a better shot creator and better on ball, and his brother is has a better shooting form and is a better shooter than his. That's the biggest difference. And of course, I'm leaning into Eamon being a better player, but Ozar seems very promising. And I saw a lot of draft analysts I like and I follow for years on Twitter, being very high on him. So yeah, there is that.
I think the 7 through 10 is going to be very, very tough to predict. I think Indiana in the 7th spot can go a lot of different ways. I am going to say Taylor Hendricks is the best one for them to take at number 7. The reason being, finally, they can get some size with an actual power forward in this spot. And what's great about Taylor Hendricks that he moves very well and he can shoot the ball extremely well. So I just think it's going to be a great player to pair with a team that you're likely going to be building around Tyrese Halliburton going forward. Jarris Walker is also available here in my mock, and I think that's also a great pick. But I think Taylor Hendricks and the upside given from the shooting and athleticism is something the Pacers should consider.
So with him, I just underlined it uppercase. Great defense, great timing, great blocking, great rotation, great switching, everything great on defense, and then you have good shooting. I'll say ultimate role player starter for entire career. You are safe with him for many years, and there is huge upsides on everything, defense and scoring. The only thing I'm concerned about him is 44% on layups, which is kind of weird for his size. So there is that, but other than that, he's great player, great prospect.
Yeah. Let's move to pick number 8. This is a player I can see going, to be honest, as high as 5. I could see Orlando wanting to take him at 6 as well, but if he is available at 8, which I have him, Anthony Black to the Washington Wizards. It's going to be a new look Wizards team, and I think this is somebody you can build around for the future. Fantastic athlete, great ball handler, big point guard, 6'7", and just a phenomenal defender. One of the best defenders in the class, not just because he's big, but he moves his feet so well for his size. Jump shot needs a little bit more consistency, but there are signs that it's going to be there. I'm a massive fan of Anthony Black, and I think he's going to be a really good player, and the Wizards should snap him up here. But with the Wizards management, I have no idea. Do you like Anthony Black in this spot?
So I just wrote a very athletic Josh Giddey. And yeah, his defense is probably one of the best in the draft. His shooting is probably one of the worst in the draft. I don't see the upside for now. I
Right.
just saw him like wide. So I watch a lot of his shots, and I think I saw like 15 wide open looks where he airballed and throw a huge brick, and he's not leaving the floor when he shoots, no upper movement. So very, 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 very long way for him to become a great shooter, but high basketball IQ, very good defensive player, very good pick and roll player, very good inside finishing. So everything besides shooting is there. And yeah, for being 8th pick, I think that's a great pick
And we'll move to number
especially for the
nine.
Wizards. Yeah, yeah.
So we'll move to number 9 here. This is the favorite to go 5th. I have him at number 9. I can see him going 7. I could see him going 5 as well, but gonna go with Jarris Walker in this position here. Lot to like about his size. He can play as a power forward. That's what he's listed as. He also is big enough and a good enough defender to play as a center, as a small ball center, which could be intriguing for the Utah Jazz in this position. But the size, athleticism, once again, we keep talking about, but this is what teams are looking for. Efficiency could stand to clean up quite a bit, but overall, I think Jarris Walker's a great fit here at number 9. How do you feel about his position?
Yeah, all you said is I agree with.
That's best player
Yeah,
available if he's available
yeah,
at 9.
yeah. That's like great size, great defense, very strong, very versatile, good offensive rebound, can improve as a shooter, looking great for especially from the corners, and can play five at small ball, especially with the second unit. So very versatile player. So I like him a lot, and I don't think he can you can miss with him. You know exactly what you're getting with him, and you are getting an NBA ready player from day on.
Agreed. So let's move to pick number 10. Don't know if he's quite NBA ready, but Dallas desperately need a center for their team, and they could find maybe one for a long-term role here. Derek Lively going number 10 to the Dallas Mavericks. Just a rim running center, maybe a player that's going a little bit out of fashion here. It needs to be a bit more astute offensively, but works well in the pick and roll, is a good playmaker from this position. And the biggest draw is that he is an outstanding defender. Very, very good rim protector, very good playmaker. I think he'd fit really well with the likes of Luka Doncic on this team, give him a good pick and roll partner. If the finishing does get even better, this is a player that I think has a long-term future in the center spot, being a starting NBA center.
I think he lost a lot of his numbers because Duke they weren't running a many pick and rolls. He was mostly set in the dunker spot, but he was great in dunker spot. And when they did run pick and roll, he was great catching the lobs and great vertical. Yeah, and defensive end, great rim protection, great timing. Can be caught a bit out of position, and that's the issue. But he's very young, and for centers to be, yeah, he'll improve, especially in getting to play pick and rolls with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic.
Well, maybe Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, maybe Kyrie Irving, but especially Luka Doncic will be like he'll make like the same thing with when James Harden made Capella look like godlike.
Yeah.
And does the thing here, and he has the great upside. He's a great passer out of short roll, and he catches the ball, and the player gets up front. Great at hitting the corners and wide open shooters. So we'll love him with Luka Doncic and Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, just one more thing on Lively. Didn't shoot well in college. Did have some signs in high school of being able to shoot the three. So it'll be interesting if that ever progresses at the NBA level. But if it doesn't, I still think he has a successful career ahead. Moving on to number 11. If Orlando don't take him here, I think the Raptors take him at 13. But I'm going to go Grady Dick, a very dynamic player, but the best three-point shooter in this draft, certainly off the catch and shoot. One of the best movement shooters in the draft as well, along with Jordan Hawkins. But Grady Dick, I mean, it's not just the shooting. Like, he's the best shooter in this class, but he is very, very smart at using his shooting gravity. He can pump, take one dribble, shoot mid-range. He can pump, take a step to the side, and still hit a three. He's a great player in transition, good playmaker, fine defender. To be honest, I think 11 might be a little low for him, but Orlando, I think, to fit here a shooter with Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero to space the floor a little bit more, this is a really, really good player to put at the 2 spot for those guys.
Yeah, I have Grady Dick. I have 2 things right down for him. Taller, Luke Kennard, and a bit smaller Lauri Markkanen. That's the
Yeah,
like
I
a
like
middle
that.
ground, a middle ground for him. Best shooter, as you said in the draft, probably the best shooter overall, best off ball shooter overall, movement shooter overall. When players in the college got to him and started defending him a bit better, he showed that he can cut a lot, very efficiently inside. The thing with him is my biggest concern is he is a pretty much con on defense, slow movement,
Slow.
slow feet, very slim, no strength. So yeah, it will be tough to defend with him. But on the other side, he just was shooting lights out and great shooter. So
He's
yeah,
amazing in
yeah,
transition as well. Not just shooting, but he is
yeah,
amazing in transition.
yeah.
His,
He is
his cutting to the rim, just firing from three. Like if you leave this guy open in transition, he will bury you. He's a talented player. I think Orlando fits really well with him. Let's move to pick number 12. This is a very OKC like pick, but with so many draft picks and so many young players, I think they can take a real shot on this one and go with Bilal Coulibaly in this spot. This is also one I think Masai Ujiri and the Raptors would have a look at as well, but super raw. He was a teammate of Victor Wembanyama, and his performances in the playoffs were very impressive, which has kind of put him up the draft boards a little bit. There was an ESPN mock that had him going number 9, which shifted odds too far on him. His over-under is 11.5. I think if you can get close or better than positive odds on him to go over 11.5, that's worth taking. But super raw, 6'7", 6'8", athletic two-way player, can't shoot, but handles the ball decently well, solid playmaker. He's just an extremely raw player, but such a great athlete that I think this is one that Oklahoma City will just take a shot on. But Coulibaly, I think, can fall out of the lottery as well. Very, very wide range of outcomes for him. But what were your thoughts on Coulibaly when you dove in on him?
Yeah, it's kind of weird to have him this high, but I can see it if anyone wants to gamble on his raw talent, because I think out of all these guys we mentioned, he's by far the most far away from
Yeah.
being NBA ready. Very raw, great defense, great athletic, great athlete, good inside finishing, especially out of transition, but kind of questionable shooting and decision making. He is the
Mhm.
player that will just run through everyone, but he's young and raw, so that's easy to improve,
Yeah.
especially if he gets picked in a good organization and good coaches. I also think the thing with him, he could possibly grow more, and that could help him a ton. The same thing
Mhm.
as when Giannis came to the league, when his growth helped him a lot. And I see him as a bit smaller Giannis in the
Yeah.
way he's playing, but that's the issue. He's doing everything as Giannis, but very
Smaller.
small, a lot smaller. So I hope he can grow, and that will help him tremendously in his career, and that's very possible.
Yeah, his way of playing right now is very improvised. He just kind of runs, and then when a player hits him, then he tries to figure out how to score, which leads to
Yeah,
some inefficient finishing when there's players near him. But I just the athletic ability here, I think, would be intriguing. This is the type of guy that Oklahoma City have wanted to gamble on in recent times, and I think that with their team in place here, this is a good opportunity for them to gamble on a player with high upside. But let's go to my Toronto Raptors here. This is who I would love if they were able to find in this spot. And it looks like he's going to be available here if they want him. It looked like a couple weeks ago he would not be available at 13, but now I think he will be. Cason Wallace out of Kentucky, 6'4" point guard, the best perimeter defender in this draft, runs the offense pretty well. I spoke about the defense. Don't need to go any further. He's the best perimeter defender in this class. He handles the ball well. He can initiate the offense, showing some decent signs of being able to shoot jump shots as well. Has a 3-ball game. Could work on finishing around the rim a little bit better, but overall,
yeah,
his size, this makes sense for a Raptors team, especially after Trent just picked up his option. Not sure they're going to afford Van Vliet. This could be your point guard of the future.
yeah. I agree on this one. I have him as defense very Drew alike defense.
Yeah, he's Drew Holiday. He's exactly like Drew Holiday.
Yeah, yeah. So The thing I wrote about him, and when I was watching him, I had actually him in top 10 when I
Mm,
did some watching of him, and his defense is just unbelievable, and he was just instantly make impact, and that's the thing with the size of and the way Toronto Raptors were playing. He fits there great, so I hope he's available for you guys when you get there. He's good shooting form, so he can improve as a shooter. Very steady and good shooting form, especially on catch and shoot. Good signs of shooting out of dribble handoffs and in the pick and roll when mid range when the big is in drop coverage. He can punish it from the mid range. Decent playmaking and yeah, overall pretty good pick to get in the low lottery for Toronto Raptors.
for sure would love this one. I also would like at 13 as well. If they did go this way, the pick that I have going 14 to the New Orleans Pelicans, that is Kobe Buffkin. Absolutely soared up draft boards in the last few months because second half of the season, he was a 50, 40, 90 player at Michigan, handles the ball extremely, extremely well. He's 6'5", big for the position, good playmaker, works well in the pick and roll, can finish on all three levels. A ton to like about Kobe Buffkin. And there's a reason a lot of people are so high on him. I could see him going even higher up this list. I could see OKC wanting to take him. I could see Orlando wanting to take him as well. But I think the Pelicans would be happy to have him here. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, like Gemaro quickly writing all over him, and yeah, I think he has the great upside.
Mm-hmm.
And if his shooting can just go levels up and kind of go up even better than he was, and we saw so many players with this kind of potential go and be even better shooters in the NBA, more dynamic, and yeah, with 14 pick getting this kind of potential is crazy, and everyone should be very happy to get him at like 13, 14, and 15 spot.
Yeah, agreed. And I think if he falls to 17, which is the max he'd go, the Lakers would absolutely snap him
Yeah,
up in that
for sure.
position. Just some honorable mentions here of guys who could sneak into the lottery as well. I think Jalen Hood-Schifino has lottery considerations, big point guard, pick and roll specialist, but not much else. Jordan Hawkins, the best movement shooter in this draft. So if you're looking for a role player, he is going to be a great role player. Just is so good off of movement, like getting himself open, off of dribble handoffs. Excellent shooter. Also have Nick Smith Jr., high upside from athletics, but had a very poor season statistically. And Keontae George, a big-time shot maker who needs a little bit of improvement in finishing and rim pressure, but big-time shot maker who has a three-level scoring upside that many teams could bet on as well. So that is it from our mock draft here. That is the top 14 picks predicted as of Wednesday morning. I feel pretty good about this one. Hoping for myself, Cason Wallace goes to the Raptors in that spot. Any predictions for you for the Houston Rockets? Let's say Thompson does go a little bit early. Is he your favorite person to go to the Rockets? Who do you want the most?
Oh, that's I would like to trade if Scoot is not available and Amen is not available. I would like to look
Trade.
what we yeah trade and look what we can get for anything for the fourth pick and maybe even trade someone from the team. Yeah, I don't know, but I would like if we can get Scoot with any trade without including of Shangun or Jalen Green, I'm down for it.
Mm-hmm.
Even including 20 and fourth and some player. Amen is the second pick and probably the most likely. And if you don't get these two, I don't know. I will look to trade something for this.
All right, so there's some interesting insight there. We'll see how the draft does go tomorrow. I'll be streaming for the top 10 picks live on the Hammer HQ. Hope to see you there. But if you enjoyed this one, please make sure to hit that like button or rate and review 5 stars. Subscribe to the board on YouTube or follow us on your favorite podcast platform. I'm sure me and Pips will be back very soon for some more NBA coverage here on the board.